Howdy, folks. Time to make another video, and shoot, it's only been about 3 years. But this whole Donald Trump thing and the election, the way it turned out, has got me all pumped up. So here we go. So here in the state of Montana, we did really good on the election. Retained control of the House and the Senate. All state elected officials from the governor on down. Pretty much, well, as far as I know, they're all Republican. And the federal election, the only big test was between Tester and Sheehy, and Sheehy won hands down. So that all worked out good. Well, I'm still celebrating, actually. But the only sour note in the whole deal was CI 128, Constitutional Initiative 128, which had to do with abortion and pretty much unlimited abortion and some really vague, horrible language. I don't know how that thing passed, but it did. I think it might have something to do with the people that were pushing for it spent $18+ million on advertising that turned out to be incredibly deceptive versus a little over 200,000 on the opposition, which, hello, that's me. The question that I asked was, why? Why would they do this? I mean, they made it a big deal of it's a women's right and all this stuff. Well, women already had that right in the state of Montana. There was only 2 restrictions that I know of on abortions in the state of Montana. One of them was parental notification. Any girl, and I think it was under the age of 16. That might have been that might not have been valid at the time of the election. I don't know. But this one I know was that if a pregnancy went to, I think it was week 24, where if a child was born, it would be viable. And or if the child was born alive during a medical abortion, that child's life would be saved. That doesn't sound too unreasonable to me. In fact, it's way too liberal as far as I'm concerned, but it was state law. It's not anymore. I have no idea what state law is now. And I tried to pull up the initiative itself, and I failed. It's gone pretty much, and I just didn't want to spend a whole lot of time looking for it because it's not really critical right at this stage of the game. Because we're going to find out what a very liberal Montana State Supreme Court is going to do with this new constitutional law. So, all right, for those of you who are watching this, I would ask you, I'd ask you to subscribe. I mean, I want to push this channel a little bit at this stage of the game. And you don't have to do the notification thing because the issue will come up. What I'm pushing for is just put this in the back of your head. Over the next year or so, there will be little blurts here and there, and if you're paying attention to conservative news, or if you're paying attention to me, because I'll be paying attention, you'll find out what our Montana State Supreme Court is actually doing with this new constitutional law. All right? So, the big question I asked myself, beyond what had changed and what is potentially there, I have no idea. I don't even want to go there in this video. I decided instead I was going to follow the money. Because I cannot imagine why any group or individual would spend $18 million on a constitutional amendment that pushes abortion to the point of viability. In other words, that baby could be born or in the process of being born. As far as I know, there's no limitations on a doctor saying, well, that's the end of that. And then you call them body parts. And that's how I feel about it. I mean, I'm not going to mince words. It's no longer a baby at that stage. It's just body parts. So, okay. So I think of it as a body parts industry. I'm thinking, well, who in the world would push for this? So I did some research into Planned Parenthood and all the different organizations that are out there, the Margaret Sanger kind of thing, that are pushing hard for eugenics and all the other stuff that world depopulation, blah, blah, blah. I get all that. But I cannot imagine that organizations who are for profit would support something like this unless there was money to be made in it. And I was not wrong. There are. Now, I'm not saying Planned Parenthood's making a ton of money off abortions or selling body parts or giving them away or whatever they do with them. But I guarantee you the people that are getting those body parts, oh yeah, they're making some big coin. So the last statistic that I heard of, and I got a cold, I gotta drink some liquid here. The last I heard, and estimates vary, but I'm going to use a conservative one, that the body parts industry in the United States of America is at 8+ billion. And we're talking probably a whole lot more than that. Now that's some serious coin. And I also know for a fact that the body parts of babies who are closer to the point of birth are worth way more money than the body parts of babies who are a lot more immature. Now I'm talking unborn babies. So all of a sudden, this bill, and completely, as far as I can tell, completely unrestrained abortion timelines makes a whole lot more sense. Because there's big money to be made out of it. All right, that's just one thing. That's a big one, but that's just one thing. There's two. I want to talk about one more. That's the protection, potentially, that these abortion providers will receive. Potentially, depends on what our state Supreme Court decides to do with this stuff. But potentially, they can be immune from lawsuit. Potentially, they don't even have to be a physician to be able to perform an abortion. And potentially, number 3, potentially, they can be immune from criminal prosecution by state law, constitutional law. Depends on how our liberal Supreme Court decides to judge on this issue. Okay? I'm making this video as early on as I am because I'm putting a timestamp on this thing. And I'm saying maybe I'm not just talking potential, but we're going to find out if I am by what our state Supreme Court decides to do and how they decide to judge in regards to these things. And I'm not going to hold my breath, and I'm not hopeful at all that they're going to give any kind of a conservative judgment because they've never been conservative. And they're not. So that's my next big battleground, is to start, sorry, gotta have a drink. I'm very concerned. And so what I'm going to ask you folks who may or may not be listening to this, and I'm going to ask you to share. I'm going to ask you to subscribe. I want this channel to go someplace now. Mostly prior to this, it was all just for family and, just for my own personal having fun use, but I want this to grow a bit. So if you wouldn't mind subscribing and sharing, if you like what you're hearing, and keep it in the back of your head. Keep it on the down low or whatever, but keep it in the back of your head just to keep in mind of what that Supreme Court is going to do with this new law, this new constitutional amendment. Because I don't think they're going to do anything good with it at all. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. So anyway, I want to keep this video fairly short if I can. Like I said before, subscribe, share, and like the videos if you like it. If you don't like it, don't do that. But I'm concerned about the future of this state. And I'm also concerned if Montana is the only place where people from surrounding states can get an abortion late term, where do you think they're going to go? I don't want to live under that. I don't want to have that judgment on my head. I'll be honest. So I'm doing what I can now to join up with other folks who feel the same way I do. And I know there's a bunch of them out there. And if you're one of them, please comment, get in touch with me. I'm doing what I can. I'm trying to build a channel here, but I got the tech savvy of a rock, so it might take me a little while. Might have to get my grandkids to come over and help me out. But that said, I want to make this a deal at some point in time, not right away. We can let it sit and slide for a little bit, let them, give these people enough rope to hang themselves if that's what they want to do. But, yeah. Anyhow, I'm done with this video. You folks, you have yourself a great day, and God bless you all.